Hey y'all, it's Jody May. Thanks for joining me to see what's cooking. You guys, this week was very easy but very tasty, and I hope you guys enjoy. If you do, hit that thumbs up button and let me know what you think in the comments below about these recipes. Also, if you're new, hit that subscribe button and click that bell so you don't miss any future videos. I have a lot of changes coming up very soon, and I hope you guys will stick around and enjoy. Become part of our YouTube family. To start off, we had mackerel patties and salad. For this recipe, I used 2 cans of mackerel that I did drain, and then I just put them in there whole. And then I did make a mistake here, guys. I'm not the perfect chef by far. Trust me, you've noticed that with my videos if you guys aren't new and you guys are returning. But I added 1 egg instead of 2. And then here I added in about 1 tablespoon of paprika just to give it a smoky flavor, about a half a teaspoon of salt, and a half a teaspoon of pepper. I ended up using about a little over a half a pack of crackers that I crumbled up pretty good, and then I just mix it all together. You guys are going to want a thick texture without it being runny to where they will stick together. Like I said, I should have used 2 eggs, but I was in a hurry and I only used 1. But it still turned out really good. Everything stayed together pretty good, and it is what it is. So here we go. And if you guys don't want to use your bare hands, you guys can wear gloves or whatever, but me, I'm all hands on. I want to be able to feel what I'm doing, feel the texture of things, and make sure it's coming out the way I want it to. Now in my pan, I have about 1/8 of an inch to close to 1/2 of an inch of vegetable oil that's already preheated, and now I'm just going to make my patties, and then I'm going to place them into the skillet. Now if your patties break apart like you will see mine do here in just a second, don't worry. As long as your texture is okay, you can just kind of smash them back together, but do not flip them more than 1 time. You want to make for sure that you get the bottom completely browned and completely done before you ever flip them the first time. That is the catch-22 with mackerel patties. If you don't want them breaking up and turning into a bunch of little pieces, wait until they're completely cooked and crisp on one side before you flip them. Now if you guys aren't feeding an army like I do with my 2 guys at home, trust me, you guys can make half of this recipe. You would only use 1 egg and a little less than half a pack of crackers to 1 can of mackerel. But trust me, I have to make a lot because my guys can eat. Let me tell you, they can eat. But that's also the reason why I'm making them very thick as well, because I'm not going to be using them or putting them on bread. I'm just going to have them on the side with a salad. Now while them were cooking, I went ahead and threw together a quick salad, and then that's what we had for dinner. For this dinner, we had tuna casserole. It's not the same recipe that I normally go by, but it is definitely a change up, and it was definitely an added incentive. This time here, I'm just going to add in my 1 can of cream and mushroom soup, 1 can of milk, and about 2 tablespoons to 3 tablespoons of sour cream. Now normally I would add in 1 can of soup, about 3 tablespoons of mayonnaise, and then maybe a half a cup of milk. But this time here I wanted to change it up a little bit, give it a little bit of a different flavor, and it definitely turned out great. So this here was 1 can of soup, 1 can of milk, and about 3 tablespoons of sour cream. I mixed that up really well. I put that into the microwave and heated it thoroughly, and then it was good to go for the sauce. Now here I'm just adding in an onion, which I normally don't do, but it actually gave it a good bit of flavor. So here I just took a couple slices of a red onion, diced it up really small, and threw it in with the mixture. while the noodles were cooking, I went ahead and finished up my pasta or my sauce here. Here I'm just adding in 2 cans of tuna, salt and pepper to taste, and then a can of sweet green peas. When this here was all mixed, I went ahead and heated it really well to where the sauce was actually hot, to where when I mix it into the noodles, everything is good and warm.
Maybe I could have seen it all coming.
There, I just drained the noodles and threw in the sauce and mixed it all really well. You guys, it turned out really good, and I hope you try it.
Lost in translation, where nothing makes sense anymore.
Now, depending on your family's taste buds, you guys can add in cheese on the top or mix it in here like I did. Our family likes Parmesan, so I added in about 1/4 of a cup, almost a 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese, and I mixed it in there. Super easy and super tasty. My first attempt at this recipe, and it's a taco pie. Y'all, it was so worth it. Guys, I normally do white onions, yellow onions, whatever you want to call them, but this time here I used the red onion, and I'm telling you, I was surprised at the flavor difference, and let me tell you, it was well worth the change. I probably will be using this a lot more in these kind of recipes because the flavor was there, like it was on point. But anyhow, here I'm just cutting up this red onion, and I'm going to put it in a chopper, get it all minced down. And I don't use this whole portion of the onion. I only used maybe 1/3 of it in this recipe, and the rest I put up so I can have it for future recipes. Now, you guys, I am big time prepper, so I make sure that I have a lot of already pre-cooked meat on hand. Here was 1 pound of already cooked hamburger. To that, I'm adding in about 1/3 of the onions that I just chopped, which is probably about 1/4 of a cup of onion. And then here I'm just breaking up the hamburger into pieces. That way, you know, it heats up quicker. Y'all, and trust me, if I would have put this in the microwave for 30 seconds, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal to break that hamburger up. But anyhow, here I'm just heating up the hamburger. It calls for 1/3 of a cup of salsa, but for some reason my salsa didn't have a lot of juices left in it, so I ended up having to add about 1/4 of a cup to maybe 1/8 of a cup of water, and then I added in 1 pack of taco seasoning. Then I'm going to let that simmer while I'm getting everything else ready to go. Now here I'm getting the crust ready. This here was I believe it was a Pillsbury pie crust, and all I did was put it out at room temperature for a few minutes. I should have done it a little bit longer, and I definitely should have pulled the sides up over the edges, but trust me, it didn't hurt anything, and everything still stayed together and still tasted great. But all I did was I put the pie crust in the bottom after I sprayed the pan, and then I just smashed down, or smashed up, should I say, the side edges of the crust all the way up to as far as up as I could get it onto the pan. And then I preheated, or I cooked this in a preheated oven at 450 for about 5 to 7 minutes just to get it half cooked, and then I will put the filling into it and let it finish cooking. And whatever you do, do not forget to poke the holes in the crust if you guys are making it like this, because if you do, it will definitely bubble up and it will shrink too much to be able to use. Now here I'm just going to add in the filling, and I'm just going to go ahead and try to get it as even as possible. And if you'll notice, the edges did shrink down. Like I said, I should have pulled them up and pinched them to the top after I let the shell get a little bit more at room temperature. It would have been easier to manage. But anyhow, I'm just going to go ahead and smooth out this filling, and then I'm going to bake it at 450 degrees for another 15 minutes. Now here I'm just getting my veggies prepped for the toppings. This here was some grape tomatoes that I just quartered up. And then I put on some shredded cheddar cheese. You guys can use any cheese you want. It's your family. It's your taste buds. But here I'm using shredded cheddar, some grape tomatoes, shredded lettuce, and some sour cream. You guys, this here was so good. And I'm telling you, I should have made 2 because this didn't last long at all.
Until you came knocking at my door, it's hard to be play our favorite song, dancing to it all night long. With you I feel.
Now I did let this sit for about 5 minutes to get all of the cheese combined really well. And I'm telling you guys, do got to try this recipe. It turned out amazing. For this dinner, we had spaghetti with some fried squash on the side. Don't let this simple recipe fool you. It really is good. To start off with, I went ahead and sliced up my squash. I should have went a little bit thicker, but that's okay. I had an emergency kind of dealt with outside, and this batch here kind of burnt. So this is not the actual ones that I ended up with in the end. But this here was the first batch. It's the same simple, idea, same thing. You just cut them up into chunks, and you want to fry them in a couple of tablespoons of olive oil. Now you guys can season them however you want. I just used salt and pepper and a little bit of paprika. Now here I just added in 1 pound of ground beef that was pre-cooked, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and some mixed seasoning. And then I went ahead and added in my pasta sauce. The same process, you all. Just let it cook down, rinse or drain your noodles, put it all together. And there you have it. Super delicious. A little bit of Parmesan on the top. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, stick around, hit that subscribe button and click that bell. And let me know what you think in the comments below. Have a great day, y'all.